It's a nightmare, and it's happening all across the country. Regular Americans turn on their water faucet, and instead of clean, fresh, beautiful water, fire pours out. Look at it. I'm showing you right here. This week, I have talked to one of many families who complain that hydraulic fracturing or fracking is making them sick.
But Jody and my boy, they've had rashes, and our daughter, she's had nosebleeds.
Basically, gas company, pressurized water, sand, and toxic chemicals underground to push natural gas to the surface. The industry says this process is 100% safe. And tonight, I'm going to talk to somebody who insists, yes, it's not only safe, but it's a fabulous idea. So we've had one side, now we're going to have the other side. Straight out to Irish journalist and the producer of the upcoming documentary FrackNation, Phelim McAleer. Phelim, thank you so much for joining us for this a little back and forth. Listen, we've talked to people who say after fracking started near their homes in short order, their hair started falling out, they started getting blisters, they started getting rashes, nosebleeds, the water started smelling and it was contaminated, they got the fire water, and even their animals began keeling over, vomiting, keeling over, and then we had a guy call and say, there's been earthquakes as a result of fracking happening. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but are all of these people wrong?
Well, many of those things probably happen to those people, unfortunately. It's very sad. But people do get ill, people do get rashes, you know. But no, there's no scientific evidence, or there's no proof that any of these illnesses have anything to do with fracking. But that's one of the reasons I want to make this documentary, FrackNation, is to investigate this further and not to rely on the anecdotes. Yes, to hear what people have to say, but then go and look at the science. Because so much of what's been said in documentaries such as Gasland up to now has been, you know, very emotional-based anecdote. But really, we need to go beyond that. We need to stop scaring people, and we need to look at the hard science and say, were these people sick before? Was their water contaminated before? Was it naturally contaminated? Is it contaminated now? All these things that real journalists should ask. And that's what we're going to do. I've been out there. I've talked to people. I mean, you take the time.
I'll tell you one thing that real journalists are asking is, what are the toxic chemicals that are used in the fracking process? And I understand that there's a huge debate over whether or not to release those substances, the identities of those substances, and there's a tug of war over that. Now, if there's nothing wrong with it and they're all fine and there's nobody's getting hurt, and again, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but I believe in freedom of information. Let's find out all the chemicals that are being used in this fracking.
Absolutely.
So why is it that this is a struggle?
Well, it's early in my research and in my documentary at the moment, but I understand that all the chemicals used in these frack fluids are freely available on a website called FrackFocus.com.
Well, can you name a couple?
Well, every chemical is available on a website called FrackFocus.com, and I haven't heard anyone contradict that. So I think people should go there, look at what's available, look at what is being used. I think maybe 10 years ago the industry might have said we can't release the chemicals. They've put their hands up. They're releasing them now. It's a nice stick to beat them with, but that's outdated information. And I think we need to get out there. I went to Dimock, Pennsylvania, which is ground zero for polluted water. There are 11 families there, and I spoke to them. I spent a couple of days with Victoria Switzer and the Southerners who said their water's polluted. But then there are 1,500 other people in Dimock who have signed a petition, put their names on a petition saying, our water was not polluted, our water is fine, our water is clean. I think it's time to give those people a voice, rather than having middle-class journalists talk to middle-class environmentalists. I mean, this has been a conversation among very rich people from cities, telling people in rural areas, how to live. And I think it's time, the 99% had a part in the conversation. This has been a 1%
Thank you so much, and come back soon. We're going to get a debate going. Up next, cycle. It's